Hello, thank you so much for joining us here today on this beautiful day. I hope the sun is shining where you are. I'm Sister Cecilia Joy, a Franciscan sister Christian charity, and today we're here with Keidl, who is a secular Franciscan as well as a high school teacher at St. Anthony High School in Milwaukee. So thank you so much, Kurt, for being with us.
Well, greetings, Sister Cecilia Joy. Happy Easter. Christ is risen. Hallelujah. It's good to meet with you via Zoom here.
Yes, for sure. Now, some people might wonder, what is a secular Franciscan? What is a secular Franciscan?
A secular Franciscan is a member of the secular Franciscan order. We are a worldwide order in the church. We're actually the largest part of the Franciscan family. We're kind of like a little hidden treasure. When most people think of Franciscans, they think of the friars, secondarily, possibly the sisters like yourself. But actually, we secular Franciscans, we're the lay Franciscans. We compose 90% of the Franciscan family worldwide. But yet, when people think of Franciscans, they don't think of the lay people. So as lay people, we can be single, we can be married. We don't live in community as the friars and the sisters do. We have our own separate jobs. Those who are married raise their families. And secular Franciscans belong to fraternities. So the fraternity is the local meeting, the local gathering or organization of secular Franciscans in a particular region. So for example, I belong to St. Josephat fraternity in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So there in the Milwaukee area, there are several fraternities, and that's where we will gather monthly in order for prayer, in order to continue our ongoing formation, and then to strategize and work on our upcoming apostolates and ministries throughout the Archdiocese.
Wonderful. Now, how did God call you to this particular Franciscan family?
Well, let's see. Ever since I was at Catholic elementary school, I always felt drawn to St. Francis. I was inspired by his love for creation, his care for the poor and the outcast. And it's when I was a seminarian at St. Francis de Sales Seminary here in Milwaukee, and taking classes at Pius XI High School, which, by the way, is staffed by the School Sisters of St. Francis. The theater director there urged me to see the movie Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon. Mm-hmm. And it's about the conversion of St. Francis, a Franco Zeffirelli film. And at that same time, and that had a moving impact on me, especially the scene of Francis encountering the lepers, which is towards the beginning of the movie, and Claire is feeding those lepers. That had a big impact on me. And then at that same time, one of my theology teachers at Pius High School had taken us to St. Ben's meal program. And that was the first time I had ever done anything like that. Met one-on-one with the poor, with the homeless. And she was a secular Franciscan as well. So when we did a follow-up of the meal program experience, I asked her more about what this secular Franciscan order is all about. And so she brought me to my very first gathering of secular Franciscans, and that's where I found out more about it. I guess I've always been inspired by those words of Jesus from the San Damiano crucifix, which I have one on my desk. And there's one behind me as well, too. Francis, rebuild my church. And so ever since I was in high school and continuing even to now, I continue to just contemplate on those words and ask myself, how can I rebuild the church for Christ? How can I renew the church? So that's an ongoing element of my spirituality as a Franciscan.
Really great. And as you mentioned, people who are secular Franciscans can have jobs in various ministries and things. And you are a theology teacher at St. Anthony High School. How is that?
I am. Well, obviously, I bring my Franciscan spirituality into all of the different courses that I teach at St. Anthony. The St. Anthony system is actually the largest parish school system in the United States. So we're operating currently on 6 different campuses. We educate children from the age of 2 all the way up to 12th grade. So I teach on the high school campus. This is I'm finishing my 8th year there. And it's really a blessing because I get to infuse all of my courses with that particular Franciscan spirituality. And our namesake is St. Anthony, who was a great theologian of the Franciscan order. In fact, he was the first friar to teach theology to the other friars, given permission by St. Francis himself. In addition, though, to my theology courses that I do teach at St. Anthony, I also teach the Franciscan tradition class through Cardinal Stritch University. So I'm also an instructor for Cardinal Stritch, which, by the way, is another Franciscan college, another Franciscan university. And that is staffed, run by the Sisters of St. Francis, who are located in Milwaukee, just on the shore of Lake Michigan. And so that course allows me to provide our seniors a unique opportunity. They enroll in the concurrent enrollment program, CEP, which means that as a senior, they can take this college level class and gain college credits. So that's just amazing for our students to do, because as a Franciscan university, Stritch wanted to partner with us, St. Anthony High School, in order to give our underprivileged Latino students a head start in their college career. So this was an opportunity that would otherwise be impossible for our students were it not through this wonderful partnership we have with Stritch.
That's really good. That's really good. And you do a lot through your classes, as you mentioned, to promote Franciscan ideals and things like that. And one of those is very much social justice issues and really showing them that it's great to, reach out and help others. Why is this? What's some advice like to become more involved in communities and things like that?
Well, the way that I approach it is that our work in justice and charity is the practical application of our faith. In the classroom, I can teach students book theology, the head knowledge, but that's not where we do theology. We do theology out in our neighborhoods, in our families, in our workplaces, out in society. And so to give them that lived experience, one of the many different programs that we have at St. Anthony is the Blessing Bag Project for the Homeless. So I was teaching the social justice class and really urging the students to go out in the community and get involved in justice projects, and they just weren't doing too much. So I decided, sometimes a teacher has to light that fire under them to urge them forward. So we decided to do it as a class project. And the month of January is designated by the U.S. bishops as U.S. Poverty Awareness Month. And so what I did with those students is had them look at some of the causes of U.S. poverty. And then we began to discuss different ways that we can help to alleviate the poverty situation, even here locally. And that's where I came up with the project. So the Blessing Bag Project basically is providing personal hygiene items and gloves and hats and socks for the homeless. So what we do is we have the students put together their own personal hygiene bag. They write a note to the homeless person, assembling this bag has been a blessing to me. I will pray for you. And then they put their first name on it. I give the students a listing of all of the homeless shelters in Milwaukee, places where homeless people congregate, hang out, social service organizations, and we place all of the assembled blessing bags on the floor so that I can commission them. We bless the bags, and I commission them to go out and to actually engage with homeless people one-on-one as they give out the blessing bag, so that they understand the face of poverty, that these are not just homeless people. These are people with names who have difficult circumstances. There's a story behind every single person. Get to know the homeless people. And this is a very, very, very powerful, moving experience for our students, many of whom have never done anything like this before. Kind of gets them out of their little bubble. And the written reflections of the students after that are just awesome to see. Sometimes the students will come to me with tears in their eyes because of the experience. But it's interesting, sister, that you mentioned, how can you get involved in social justice? I think that phrase, the idea social justice, is recently being hijacked within our culture, because what some people are calling social justice now really is not the Christian view of justice. And by that, I mean, when I speak about social justice, I'm talking about it flowing from our faith. It has to begin in prayer. It's got to be rooted in prayer, and it flows from our faith. There are currently in the world, as you well know, many people who are involved on justice crusades that's not rooted in the faith and is even going in a different direction than the church. So if somebody would want to get involved in social justice, I would always caution them, think with the mind of the church. We do this because we're compelled by the love of Christ, not just to be self-serving and to do some good out there. That's not what I mean by social justice. It might be sometimes what the media means by social justice. And I think that gives us Christians who are involved in social justice from a faith perspective, really it paints us in a bad light. So I just wanted to throw that out there. When I'm talking about social justice, I'm definitely thinking of projects and issues that are in keeping with the mind of the church to enhance God's greater kingdom here on earth.
And it's beautiful that you mentioned how, just make sure it's rooted in prayer, because it's beautiful how if we really ask the Holy Spirit to guide us, he'll lead us to people that need help, and in that sort of thing. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today and for sharing that advice. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we look forward to seeing you next time. So thank you, Kurt.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure, sister. God bless to everyone. And anybody who's interested in the secular Franciscans, you could just look them up online, do a Google search, and hopefully it will show you a fraternity near you. If you're in the Milwaukee area, check out our St. Josaphat fraternity. We meet at St. Josaphat Basilica, which is run by the conventual Franciscans on 6th and Lincoln.
Yay. Definitely. I'll have to set a link in the description for sure. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye.